This is incredible. This is incredible, and not in a good way either, ladies and gentlemen. Something like this has never happened before, is how townhall.com puts it. Patty Morin, Rachel Morin's mother, left reporters in the press briefing room so stunned by her story that they couldn't even bring themselves to ask any questions. And let's scroll up here to Rapid Response 47 and share a little bit briefly of Patty Morin's story, whose daughter, Rachel, was brutally murdered by an illegal immigrant in Maryland.
To have a senator from Maryland who didn't even acknowledge or barely acknowledged my daughter and the brutal death that she endured, leaving her 5 children without a mother and now a grandbaby without a grandmother, so that he can use my taxpayer money to fly to El Salvador to bring back someone that's not even an American citizen. Why does that person have more right than I do, or my daughter, or my grandchildren? I don't understand this. To have a senator.
I don't understand it either. And, we can actually take this back to the stories of Biden flying in illegal immigrants in the dead of night. But now, for this to be so personal, for this to be, I think the best word here perhaps maybe would be intimate, in regard to a senator specifically flying to another country to smuggle an illegal, undocumented immigrant into the country, is fucking insane. I'm going to put it like this. I'll say it is fucking retarded. And if that causes you to want to unsubscribe from my channel, then so be it. Now, this is after the president of El Salvador sat in the Oval Office with President Trump and said, I'm not going to smuggle in an undocumented illegal immigrant into your country now. Why would I do that? And only to turn around and see a U.S. senator break the law? Is he breaking the law? Should he be held accountable? Will this senator find himself in a similar situation to none other than the AG or district attorney or attorney general? I can't remember what Letitia James is, or better yet, I should say was, soon to be, because she's experiencing some hot water herself now, actually. And I don't want to make this video about her because we actually talked about her earlier. I don't want to do that more than once in one day, but I do want to share with you guys a little bit of an explanation and summary from the standpoint of New York's Attorney General, AG Letitia James, who prosecuted President Trump and former president at the time for fraud, faces her own criminal referral to the Department of Justice for alleged mortgage fraud. Accusations include lying about her primary residence in Virginia, misrepresenting a Brooklyn Properties units, and shady property deals with her father. FHFA, not to be confused with FAFO. The FHFA, which is the Federal Housing Finance Agency, flagged her for potential charges like wire fraud. Yeah. We can only look at this as karma, right? For her and Alvin Bragg's witch hunt against President Trump. And we look forward to her disbarment and jail time. The DOJ is reviewing. No charges yet, but we can see the panic is already setting in. But I digress. This is the end result of the press briefing with Patty Morin leaving the room absolutely speechless. And yes, I believe, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong here, that Karoline Leavitt actually shuts down one request from one reporter for a question, but I can only imagine that request was probably Caitlin Collins or anybody from the Associated Press from the AP.
Any questions for Patty or for me? No?
I have a question.
No? Anybody? Okay. We'll see you all later. The president will be at his dinner later this evening. Thank you.
Thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry for your loss. Thank you. Please tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Yes.
Tell how violent it really is. This is about protecting our children. It's more than just politics or votes or just anything. It's about national security, protecting Americans, protecting our children. Thank you. And thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions?
We've got to protect our own, folks. We've got to protect our own. And quick show of hands, how many of you guys agree with that? We have to protect each other because, President Trump has said before, they are coming after us. He just happens to be standing in their way, and he's never moving. The Democrats are hell-bent on destroying this country, families, America, the world, if they had their way. Maryland man hoax, according to Jack Posobiec. His wife has a restraining order on him. You guys caught that in the previous video, right? But here's the kicker. She doesn't want him home. She just wants the GoFundMe donation.
Well, folks, the Maryland man hoax is breaking. Senator Chris Van Hollen has just landed, I guess, in El Salvador, where he's on his way out to, I suppose he's on his way for a special visit with Abrego Garcia. He's there. I don't know if this is one of those, visits with special benefits. Maybe it's more of a first date kind of thing. Maybe he's not that kind of senator. Then again, he is from Maryland. So we'll see just how high his standards, if any, are. But the entire left is going in on this. The entire media, this massive political stunt is going on, and it is a political stunt to be sure. By the way, this also proves once again that the Democrats are far better at political theater than Republicans, than conservatives, than even sometimes. Look, we couldn't even get a guy to go to Fort Knox. We couldn't even get a guy to go to Fort Knox, but the Democrats will go all the way down to El Salvador. The only problem is, of course, once again, the Democrats are supporting a criminal. Yes, whether it's Luigi Maggioni or Carmelo Anthony or now Abrego Garcia, the Democrats just can't quit their love affair with criminals. And of course, as we've been explaining for years at this point, this is part of a playbook. The only problem is, of course, the Democrats have been running around saying, oh, this guy, he's so sweet, he's so innocent, he's killed.
Now, I do want to point out that part of this playbook, I think, has a lot to do with minorities and non-whites. And this is intentional, and this will probably come to light here soon, that the Democrats are only doing this for non-whites. And the purpose of this is to then say that MAGA, Republicans, President Trump, yada, 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 the right, common sense based conservative patriots, true Americans have a problem with blacks or Hispanics or you name it, as long as they're not white. And I think this is part of a beginning of the strategy here.
Kissed by an angel, but unfortunately, that's not the case, because his wife, who's out there giving all of these pleas, saying, please donate to our GoFundMe, please donate to our GoFundMe, she actually filed a restraining order on him in the state of Maryland. Kind of funny, by the way, how the entire media couldn't figure this out, and a local Maryland blog was able to pull it up.
The entire media could figure it out. They just chose not to. They chose to ignore it. They underreported. I mean, this is all part of their psyop.
The Chesapeake Times. And so they're able to get it up, but nobody in the entire media was able to pull this together. She says she wants him home, and yet she kicked him out of the home and filed a restraining order on him. Or maybe, just maybe, it's all the money that's rolling in because she saw the money rolling in for Carmelo Anthony's family that they're using to buy new cars, that they're using to get a new house. And she thinks, I want to get some of that for myself. It's disgusting, but understand what you're looking at is a parasitic operation and a playbook that's been in place for a long, long time.
Absolutely right. 100% honest, 100% correct. And I've got my own story that I want to share with you guys about the money. Okay. And basically, it goes something a lot like this. And I got to make this quick because I'm running out of time and we're supposed to go to dinner soon. We're meeting some friends. We actually, believe it or not, have made pretty good friends with our neighbors, which I got to tell you guys, I've never lived anywhere where I actually spoke really to my neighbors and hung out with them. So that's pretty cool. But the money, I actually had a company reach out to me yesterday and they offered me a solution. And the solution was to manage my YouTube channel for me and take a lot of the burden and the stress and the weight off of my shoulders. Now, albeit they claim that they would increase my earning potential, increase my revenue, and thus they would take a percentage, a cut off the top. But I had to break the news to them and let them know that I pretty much run my own show. And I've made things as simple and as easy as I possibly can. And I don't really have any burden. I don't really have any stress. And then I asked a question too, one out loud, the other in, it was more of a metaphorical or rhetorical or a question of myself. And the first was, as this young lady was making this pitch, I asked, do you have your own YouTube channel? Obviously, not surprising. The answer was no. And the reason why I asked this question is because I find it interesting that someone can potentially, seemingly offer me a solution to a problem that they know I have that they have never, ever experienced themselves. Make that make sense. Now, the second question was not out loud, but it was, I'd be willing to bet that if you actually watch my content on my channel, you calling me on this Zoom from San Diego, we probably don't jive. We're probably not on the same page. We probably don't think alike. We were probably not, we didn't vote for Trump. At least I did. Odds are you probably didn't. And that's okay because Trump's going to make America great for everybody. And you'll come around, maybe. But the whole goal of this, I think, pitch, this business model and strategy was to take an opportunity to cash in on someone else's ability to pull in money. Therefore, I've already proven that I have the ability to earn money through YouTube videos and monetization and so on and so forth. This company is just trying to figure out how to get a piece of it. That's how they offer this solution. So if we look at Carmelo Anthony, if we look at this woman here from El Salvador, her husband from El Salvador, I would be willing to bet that there are people out there actively seeking and searching, or at very least trying to create these opportunities for the public to then donate to certain people who most of us with a good head on our shoulders and common sense would consider to be less than deserving. And in Carmelo Anthony's case, a freaking criminal, a murderer at that. He hasn't denied it. He told the cop he did it. And Austin Metcalf did die. So put 2 and 2 together, you get 22, right? But this is only going to get worse because there will be people out there, these companies that will emerge and they will offer you, much like ambulance chasers going after the insurance company on your behalf, knowing that they're going to take the lion's share of the settlement and claim. And they'll say, look, we'll set up the GoFundMe. We'll make it simple and easy. We'll help you with marketing. We'll get you in front of the news and cameras. All you got to do is turn on the waterworks, keep that story going, and we'll take our piece. We'll take our cut off the top. And so in this particular situation, an instance with this young lady, having already provided or filed a restraining order, which has been provided by the media or a blog poster, author. The media pretend like they couldn't find this information. In this particular situation, she's the mule. And she's the mule, she's the cash cow, or however you want to put it. And at the end of the day, more than likely, there's a deal, there's an agreement, and she doesn't care if her husband or boyfriend or whomever this guy is returns. She doesn't. She only cares about the money. And even on top of that, the company that's doing this for her cares about it far more than she does. And she probably doesn't even realize how badly she's being used in this situation. But she's not the only one. And she definitely won't be the last. And not to get sidetracked here, but there is something I want to point out that I just noticed. And it is this one here. And I'm not sure the angle that Green Lives Matter is coming from. I get it. Everybody's trying to capture an audience and gain impressions and virality and make their money. I get it. But this one says, holy shit, Letitia James is losing her mind as reports are coming out that, get this, folks, Donald Trump's DOJ is targeting her for criminal prosecution. Look at her insane body language as she claims that Hakeem Jeffries, as Speaker of the House, will save her. And I think what's most important here is realizing, like, look, I get it. It's polarizing. You've caught my attention by saying that Trump's DOJ is targeting her, and you've probably caught the attention of others with the same verbiage, same language, same keywords and clickbait, when in fact, really and truly, if anybody's targeting is Letitia, it is the FHFA. And because they have reasonable suspicion, then they take it to the DOJ and so on and so forth. So I just wanted to put that out there as a little bit of a clarification, especially considering how a lot of these Senate confirmation hearings were carried on with Adam Schiff claiming that Pam Bondi was going to, not be able to say no to President Trump and use the DOJ and use the Attorney General's office as his own in a way to cast retribution against political enemies. And I don't think that that's necessarily the case. I think, plain and simply put, people like Letitia James and others who have committed crimes know that, Adam Schiff, know that, and that's why they're so afraid. That's why they panicked. That's why they didn't want what happened to happen, because they knew that the jig was up, or the gig was up. I don't know if it's jig. I don't know if it's gig. It's a game of musical chairs, and the music is stopping, and there are far less chairs than there are people about to fall flat on their ass. Moving on here. Okay, so this is the Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen, who says his request made to the VP of El Salvador to visit Kilmar Abrego Garcia was denied. Good, as well it should be. The senator said he was told by the vice president, you need to make earlier provisions to visit CCOT or CECOT. Van Hollen says he wasn't able to meet with Abrego Garcia or have a phone conversation with him. And the vice president told him if the American embassy were to ask, maybe that could happen. Van Hollen or Hollen says he will make the request to the embassy, and the senator is now calling on Nyabukule, another name I'm butchering here. And if Squirrel Tribe was behind me, she'd be giggling. To let Abrego Garcia walk out of the prison and come back to the U.S. saying he was abducted. Okay. Nayib Bukele. Okay. Whew. His handle on X really threw me for a loop there. I don't know if you can say, it's like, you were abducted from where? Well, I was in America. I wasn't supposed to be there. So you trespassed, right? Yeah, and then I was abducted. It's like, Either way, the Trump administration maintains that Abrego Garcia is a member of MS-13, and President Bukele says he is not going to release Abrego Garcia to smuggle him into the U.S. So fuck off, dude. But I think that this is really just more of a shell game here, played by the left to dangle a carrot, so that in the future, Chris Van Hollen or Holland or whatever the fuck this guy's name is will earn some political street cred with the Democrats and vote for him because he opposed President Trump. Yeah. Either way, guys, this is incredible. This is incredible. And we've come full circle. That's literally how we started this video and how we're going to end. I want to know what you guys think. Drop a comment down below. If you like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have, make sure you still are. YouTube likes to play their games. And speaking of incredible, make sure you check out our partner chapter. Specifically, if you are on Medicare, will soon be, or know anybody else who is or will be, friends, family, parents, whomever, call them. It's free. And have them take a look at all 24,000+ plans and options available to make sure that you have the right one, aren't overpaying, save money, or even perhaps maybe even have money put back into your Social Security. Free phone call. You can call them anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 270-467-2426, or visit their website, askchapter.org/Kevin, Kevin, or just simple and easy phone call 270-467-2426 and be a part of the many others who have already called and experienced amazing free help and solutions that are saving them money as we speak, folks. And please do me a favor, share your story after you call Chapter for free. Come back and leave a comment so that we can share your story with everyone else and help others in the same way that I try to do with these videos on a regular basis, day in and day out. And in fact, I think this is like video number 3 or number 4 today. We're on a roll, folks. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.